Hey everyone, I thought it about time to make a second KH1 World deep dive / analysis / tour thing. And what comes after Traverse Town, the subject of my first video? Well, it should be Wonderland or Olympus, but those will have to wait because today I'm going to take a step backwards and explore Destiny Islands instead.
This world is just too small.
Okay, so clearly Destiny Islands isn't going to have the massive potential for secrets and things to discuss that Traverse Town did. That's clear enough from the video's length. But I still think it's worth taking a look around and appreciating this tutorial level for all that it has. Okay, so here we are on the Play Island. After all, we can only explore the Play Island. We can't go to the mainland of Destiny Islands, and we still can't in the series to this day, which I think is a shame. But regardless, let's start off in the seaside shack here. You know, very basic stuff. It's just a little shack, a very ramshackle wooden structure. Obviously not really built to live in or anything, but it's a nice place to hang out. And, you know, if you get a little bit too hot from the sun on the beach, just come in here and chill out for a bit. It's pretty nice. But of course, let's get out of here because there's not much to see inside this, clearly. We'll go to the top and we're going to look at this really nice view over the sea. And just, this place is great, man. It's just, seaside places, I always enjoy seaside places in whatever medium it is. Just the huge, like, ocean stretching out, that sense of, like, there's something more out there, which is, of course, what the protagonists want in the start of this. The big sky and the clouds, like, dominating the horizon. And just the tranquility and just peace of it all. And the feeling of it being home. It's home for Sora and Riku and Kairi, and it's the first place you be, the first world you actually are in the series, and you gain that attachment just like they already have that attachment. And it's a perfect setting for getting flung into an adventure from this peaceful place to somewhere, well, Traverse Town's a very peaceful place, but, you know, into chaos, basically. Anthem arrives and all that stuff happens, the Heartless attack. It's just a great, like, setting for the start of this journey. And yeah, we just got, like, oh, look at the wind blowing as well. Like, whoa, I never really noticed how much you, like, sway around these trees. That's a little bit weird feeling, actually. Like, they actually move. They're not just the leaves going, the whole thing's moving. But yeah, it is the beach. There's a lot of wind at the beach if you didn't already know. But yeah, look at this. I just love the open ocean. It's always a nice thing to see. And then there's some interactable elements there with the coconuts. And this whole place has interactivity. It's not just set dressing, right? It's like not only interacting with stuff, but platforming, and it sort of sets up the game. It's saying to you, look, you can kind of explore, run around, platform a bit, you know, hit things. This is what this game is going to be like. It's not just background. It's like picking stuff up, like this log that I forgot to pick up. You can climb stuff, like with this ladder. You go into the sea and splash around. You can swim. Like, it's right from the start. It's all about exploration. It's about platforming, not too harsh platforming. We'll get to the other side of the island for more platforming. And like even introducing you to the combat of the game with optional fights you can do. And even tricky ones, especially if you're playing on Proud and you do the 3v1. You know, it's just setting up everything. And that's kind of the whole vibe here. When we get into the little underground bit as well, there'll be more of that with foreshadowing. But straight away in a Kingdom Hearts game, in the first Kingdom Hearts game, it's freedom. You can swim all the way out to here. There's no reason they needed you to swim out to here, but you can. You know what I mean? Like, you can just enjoy the place. You can sit there and feel like you're in a real place. Even, I mean, yes, the graphics are updated here. Obviously, they're not the original 2002 graphics. But even for them back then, I don't think it's about how it looks and more how it makes you feel. And here's some fish we can pick up. We can't do it yet. Yeah, no, because I haven't done the second part yet where I can pick up food. But, man, and even the seagull up ahead, that tells you where the egg is. You have to find the seagull egg, right? But you can tell where it is because there's a seagull circling overhead. So you think, okay, maybe it's laid there. You know, it's just these little hints that it's, you know, it's a tutorial. It's not, it's going to hold your hand a bit, but it's also not hand-holdy to the point where it's like, okay, now I'll do this and I'll do this. It's, you know, letting you explore at your own pace and kind of figure out in your head, okay, this is how it's going to be in this game. And that certainly follows for the rest of the game. I feel like the tutorials of the Kingdom Hearts games very much do set up the rest of it. Look at Kingdom Hearts 2 with its tutorial, very much more story focused and lots of mini games and combat, very much fitting Kingdom Hearts 2. But yeah, I think we'll go back into home a bit just so we can get to the second part of the island, because I do want to talk about that more. But this is obviously the most famous part. This is the classic Destiny Islands view, like that you come back here many times. Maybe you don't actually get to run around like Kingdom Hearts 3 or whatever, but you see it a lot of times in the games. And look at this. Here's a bit that opens up when we get to the other part. You know, just a little bit something changing in the world. It's not static. The worlds never feel static in this game, maybe except for like Monstro. But we can climb, we can run about. It's like it's a child's dream, right? This kind of gives me that vibe of just like messing about somewhere, but it's also a bit of like living a fantasy, right? Because most of us as children, we didn't get a whole play island to ourselves that our dad would take us across on a boat, you know, and then leave us and not watch us while we're playing with our friends and all that stuff like that. Most of us didn't get that, so that's also kind of a fantasy fulfillment for us as kids. And just we got the NPCs like hanging out, Selfie here, just minding their own business and just showing that this is a world that exists without you. It's not, you mean, you're there, you're an important part of it, but it's not just a you thing. These three are here as well, right? It's just constructed very well, right? It's small, but it fits its purpose, right? You don't want a tutorial level to be Hollow Bastion size. That's not a tutorial. And this perfectly works with what it's trying to do and what it's trying to be. I think when a level like this can really do both those things, right? It's trying to achieve a purpose. It's trying to be the tutorial and introduce you to stuff, but it's trying to be a place as well, and it actually succeeds at both those things. And speaking of place, I guess we should look in the secret place, because there's actually interesting stuff in here. I'm sure most people like know about the cave drawings, but still, I'm going to take a look at them anyway, because I think they're kind of fun to look at. So like up here, yeah, look, we got some like shadowy blobs, and like, oh, there's Sora, Riku, and Kairi like in a little house together, very cute, very like childish. I don't know how they reached up there to draw. Maybe they like, maybe Sora was on Riku's shoulders or something. I feel like probably that was the case. And those like look like bats, kind of like foreshadowing at the Heartless and everything. Here's some more, look, and here's Sora or Riku, I can't really tell. I guess that's Sora, fighting them off, hinting, obviously, but also just it's a child thing, you know. As kids, a lot of us, we had like dreams and acted out scenarios of us fighting monsters together, you know. It's a classic thing. There's like him on a planet, kind of makes me think of, you know, he wants to go to outside worlds. Obviously that's their plan, to go to another world, or to go at least outside Destiny Islands, and they end up doing that and walking on different worlds. That's kind of nice. There's Donald, obviously Donald Duck. Maybe a chocobo there, some weird creature, I'm not really sure what that is at the top. Here, what's this? Oh, we got like some stars, fish. I mean, there's not sure there's anything particular to make out. Maybe there's a Palpu, maybe, but yeah, fish, because it's an island, so of course. And then there's Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Well, Kairi's not really fighting, it's more like Sora's protecting her, but there's them fighting a monster. Actually reminds me of Lump of Horror now, but obviously another hint towards the Heartless and them fighting together, and well, them wanting to fight together, and that maybe doesn't happen that way because, you know, drama. And then that with the shield, it kind of looks like shield, so that kind of makes me think of Goofy, but I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be exactly and what those figures are. If you got any ideas, let me know. But this is obviously more just imagining shit, right? They're just imagining cool stuff that they could do together. Sora and Kairi, obviously everyone knows about this most famous drawing of all, with them showing the Palpu and everything, and then drawing each other. They're all very, very cute, very nice. And then up there, some more fish, yeah, some hearts at the top there. I mean, that's kind of cool. It is Kingdom Hearts, but I just like that someone's just drawn some little hearts, you know, just a little scribble. That's kind of nice. Now, over here, this is kind of weird. There's like a big bird. It looks like a vulture. Some birds. Picture of Riku there. I assume that's Riku. That is a weird face. I'm not sure what it's meant to be, but kind of like a tribal thing going on almost. And then that's obviously a reference foreshadowing to Disney Castle. And what else is that going to be? And some weird figure next to it. It looks like a skull. Not really sure, but pretty cool. And then over here, this is kind of interesting because those buildings kind of look like maybe Traverse Town buildings. There we have obviously foreshadowing Pluto waking up Sora, so that's pretty cool. And on the left here we have like some cards, like not cards but suits of cards, right? Diamonds, hearts, all that stuff. Maybe Wonderland. And someone underneath, not sure who that's meant to be, but that's pretty neat. I like that. And then up here, that's a butterfly, isn't it? And then there might just be trees and stuff in the island, but I do like to imagine the butterflies like reference to Tarzan, you know, how the butterflies are in the keyhole. And there we have some of the characters. Can't really tell who that is, but wearing a crown. Kingdom Hearts and crowns, very much symbolism going on there. And then that face, maybe, I'm thinking could be a foreshadowing the Cheshire Cat. Not completely sure, but could be. And then, yeah, we're back to the obvious foreshadowing of the Heartless. But, you know, this is a cool place. It's got the creepy factor, obviously, especially when Ansem's here. But also just it's not a scary place, right? It's still nice, kind of homely. A cool place to chill out. And the door here, this is the more freaky part. Like, why is there a door? Like, this mysterious door, the intrigue and everything. And they don't really explain it at the start. That's what I like about that. It's mysterious. This whole place is not only a chilled out spot, but it's just got that element of mystery. Very much a KH1 thing, the mysterious elements. There's tons of it in this game. So it's nice to see they started right off the bat with that. And of course the foreshadowing is... the foreshadowing is really cool, I have to say. So we progressed a little bit and we're back on this side of the island to begin with, of course. And it's nice to see that the characters are back, but they're in different locations to show, you know, things have progressed. Obviously, it's not the same. But what I really want to do is go to the other side of the island, the less appreciated, the one that's not really shown very much in Kingdom Hearts past this game. But it's still worth having a look at, I think. Alright, so we're here in the Cove, which is the other side of Destiny Islands. This one clearly less of a hangout spot. It's kind of more shady. It's not really so much space to like just sort of sit or run around or anything. It's obviously all set up so you can do this race with Riku. But there's a cool element to it, and I think it's the platforming side. I mean, there's some platforming on the other side, obviously. But this side is the one that goes, right, this game is going to be a platforming game. It really is, right? This is not just, you know, you can explore and run about a bit, but this one's like, right, guys, here's the race to start with to show you. And you don't have to win it, of course. It's a tutorial. They don't expect too much out of you. But you do get rewarded for doing so. And even here, look, here's an example of a secret to find. It's the only one on the island. It's like, it's a missable item. And I'm glad there aren't loads of missable items because that'd be maybe a bit annoying. But just one missable item's quite nice, I think. It's showing that if you try, you can get stuff, you know, if you use your brain and think and solve a puzzle. And it's setting up the rest of the game because you're going to need skills like that to do well. Or to at least find extra stuff, you know, stuff that's off the beaten path. Extra treasures and hidden little secrets and stuff I've covered before. So yeah, obviously this side of the island doesn't really get shown much because it's less important to the story. I mean, the raft was supposed to kick off from here. Or at least they're building it here, but otherwise it really is all about this purpose of introducing you to the platforming mechanics of this game. Still, there's some neat little details over here. Up there we've got, yeah, up there there's actually, I didn't really notice that before, but on the tower up there, we just swim over to shore. That's actually spinning around with the wind, that's kind of nice. Very small like detail, but I always like to appreciate those. Because I could have just made it static, you know, and you wouldn't have even batted an eye, but just putting that extra little bit of effort in, I think really is what sells a world, makes it feel real. Sound effects is also something to appreciate as well. I'll go into that in a little bit later. And then here we have obviously the tricky platforming part as kids, and you know, you're really not supposed to win this race because, I mean, really, it makes sense. Riku's better than Sora, right? At the start of the game, that's the whole vibe they're going for. And you as a kid, when you first play this, you're probably going to get beaten by him. Of course, now, I mean, I can do it easily now, and I'm used to it. But like, back then, I lost. Of course, I always lost to him. Oh, and that's nice. There's like a way to the other side of the island there. That's not just the single way you came through, but there's another path, another route. Again, setting up more of what Kingdom Hearts 1 does. It's just there's multiple ways into and out of places. It's not just a linear experience, very much not so. And yeah, you know, these trees, you get the coconuts from here. You have to use your brain and think, oh, okay, we need a unripened coconut that's going to last. That's very nice attention to detail. But I think my point really is that it still feels like a place. I know maybe it's a bit convenient that this is arranged into a race. I mean, like, why? This is all very kid-friendly. It's just a perfect little adventure spot, you know? It's just somewhere to run about. Oh, God, I mean, I'm jealous of them for having all this stuff as a kid, I tell you. Well, back in my day, we just had to use the lane outside my house. But anyway, yeah, this side, not too much to say about it. But it's pretty fun to run around in. Sets up the rest of the game really well. And has a missable item, a little secret you can find to get a little bit of extra defense. I mean, you might not really need it on the first playthrough, since you're probably not doing it on Proud or Expert as it was back in the day. But it's just a nice thing to include, right? Not everything has to be necessary, okay? Some things are just there for flavour and just to make everything feel a little bit more alive. And this world definitely feels alive. I also want to talk about sound design, I guess. Music can get a bit grating, and I do kind of prefer Chain of Memory's slow version of this theme. But nonetheless, it works very well as a theme for this place. And obviously the sound design is super important. You have the waves crashing into the shore, you have the sound of birds, especially like seagulls, that sort of thing. And just the wind, you can just about hear the wind rustling through the leaves and the trees. Obviously this isn't exclusive to this side of the island, but I did want to talk a little bit about the sound effects, because sound design is another thing that I really appreciate, and it's obviously an important part of world design. So yeah, that's it for this very small but very effective world, you know. It's a tutorial, and it perfectly does what tutorial does. It shows you what you're supposed to be doing in this game. I mean, it doesn't show the more like combat heavy stuff until the end, but you got to dive into the heart to show you some of that, right, with dark side fight and all that stuff. And here is more exploring. Well, I say exploring, it's the exploration, right? It's the running around, kind of the bit of freedom that they give you in this game to kind of explore a place in your own at your own terms, right? To platform, to swim, to climb, to go up trees, you know, to get to grips with an area. And stuff like the platforming race, you probably won't win the first time, but it really sets up that this is a platforming game, like I said. And of course the actual just atmosphere here is just excellent. Background scenery is really nice, the waters looks great and peaceful and tranquil, and the fact that this gets devastated not long after, it just hits harder, right? It really hits because this is a place of kind of innocence. It's this place where the kids go and hang out and have fun and play. And for it to be destroyed savagely and Ansem to appear and be all creepy, it's just such a great contrast. And then when you see it at the end of the game, which I'm going to go into when we hopefully eventually get to the end of the world analysis, but to see it again all shredded is just the perfect place. This childhood, innocent, tranquil, peaceful, beautiful place being destroyed. It just shows how like horrible the darkness is and how important it is that it stopped, because this is happening to everywhere that people love. And of course its mark on the series is hugely important. It's both an important world in universe because it's where Sora and everyone is, and of course Xehanort's home, let's not forget that. You get to explore all these Disney worlds and everything after you've been in this very small space. If this was a big place, it wouldn't really sell that so much. If this was it wouldn't work as a tutorial anyway. Tutorials shouldn't be too big usually. But I think you're getting what I'm saying, right? I don't think I need to over-explain, basically. I think everyone understands how effective this world is and just how nice it is and just how beautiful it looks. Kind of wish we could explore the mainland. I would say that I do want that. I understand why we kind of haven't, because, you know, it kind of goes against the point of this world, I guess. But I think now we're probably deep enough into the series that we probably could explore the mainland, and I think it would work. But yeah, that's my unscripted. I'm taking a look around the Destiny Islands and pointing out all the things that I find cool about it. Next up will probably be Wonderland for this series. I'm trying to go in order of the worlds that you visit, basically. And obviously I start with Traverse Town, which should have been after this one, but Traverse Town just seemed like the perfect first one to do because of how richly detailed it is. A world like this, Destiny Islands, and this Play Island in particular, doesn't really have as much detail, but the stuff I've talked about, the design, the platforming, you know, the atmosphere, all that stuff, it's not just about detail sometimes, it's just about taking it all in, soaking it in. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point is, Wonderland's probably up next. And yeah, I feel like with these videos, I just want to say, I could script them Because what I do is I run around and like look at everything, and I think in my head what I'm going to say, and then I take the footage and put it on my screen and I talk over it as if I'm running around it in real time. I'm basically just talking over what my thoughts were at the time, rather than saying it at the time, because then I can do retakes of the audio and all that stuff, and it's just a much easier way of doing it, and it still feels like I am exploring it in real time. But I could very well script it like I do with all my other videos, and they deserve to be scripted because they come out more concise and I get to my point about what I'm saying more. But these, it's more freeing, I guess. It's the whole point is to explore, and I think when you explore, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know from the get-go, you don't have a plan as such. You might have a plan of what you want to say, and I do have things I want to say about the worlds when I explore them. But at the same time, you just want to see where your thoughts take you. Just as when you explore a place, you want to see where it takes you, where you go next. I don't have a concise, right, I'm going to go here, talk about this, and I'm going to go here and talk about this. I just kind of run around and look at stuff, and then I talk about it casually, kind of like a conversation. That's what it's meant to be. Like I'm just chatting casually to someone about, oh yeah, I find all this cool, and you, the audience, can go, oh yeah, I like that, or, you know, actually this is what I really like, and you can comment it and all that stuff. So I really hope that this format is worth doing and isn't like a detriment too much. I wouldn't like to script these because I spend so much time scripting the other stuff, and I feel like this is a welcome break from it. Anyway, clearly this is what happens when I don't script, I ramble. So let's just get to the outro bit, shall we? Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you want to comment, subscribe, and oh shit, I don't know, all that stuff. Whatever you want to do. And hopefully I'll be back with more world exploration videos in a not too distant future. Wonderland's coming soon. Maybe.